The breakdown of the race and sex of those put on unpaid leave by the federal government over their vaccine status, it's very interesting. For the departments that did disclose, sometimes over 50% were women, some were visible minorities, many were Indigenous and people with disabilities. So much for being the sexist, racist extremists Justin Trudeau says they are. Today I'll show you the documents you won't see anywhere else.
On sent que la sécurité est accrue autour de vous. Là. On sent que c'est plus dangereux peut-être en ce moment pour vous?
On est dans un moment difficile parce qu'on est en train de prendre des choix importants. On est en train de décider que oui, on va s'en sortir de cette pandémie par la vaccination. Puis on en connaît tous des gens qui sont en train d'hésiter un petit peu. On va continuer d'essayer de les convaincre. Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination.
Qui sont extrémistes.
Qui ne croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place. Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on tolère ces gens-là ou est-ce qu'on dit, voyons, la plupart des gens, presque 80% des Québécois ont fait ce qu'il fallait faire, se sont fait vacciner, on veut revenir aux choses qu'on aime faire. C'est pas ces gens-là qui vont nous bloquer. Maintenant, on est dans une 4e vague qui est presque entièrement des gens non vaccinés qui remplissent nos hôpitaux à travers le pays. À un moment donné, il faut mettre son pied à terre pour dire « Excusez-moi, là, mais il n'y a pas de débat sur la science. »
So Trudeau seems to think the people who chose to lose their jobs or join the biomedical underclass rather than submit to the COVID jab or tell their bosses all about their private medical histories are sexist and racist, big white male meanies, according to him. But is that really the case, especially when Trudeau is the big white male meanie boss doing all the firing around here? You'll recall the firing started in federal ministries and federally regulated industries back in December with a federally imposed vaccine mandate. But were those people who gave up their careers for medical privacy or medical choice really the monsters Justin Trudeau told the nation they were? Who did Trudeau defame exactly? Well, I have the data to show you today that proves the people who were fired, placed on unpaid leave, according to the federal government, were often and sometimes overwhelmingly women and frequently minorities and disabled people. Actually, frankly, this should come as no surprise given this previous Abacus polling data. Typical vaccine hesitant person is a 42-year-old Ontario woman who votes Liberal. So a woman just like me, but also the polar opposite of me. Now, I only have access to this information through an order paper question posed by Conservative MP Marilyn Gladu from Sarnia-Lambton, who asked for a breakdown of all the vaccine firings of public service employees by ministry. And there's a lot here, so let's jump right in and take a look. Page 36, the Department of National Defense mentions that of the 307 people they put on unpaid leave, 119 were women. 11 were Indigenous, 9 were people with disabilities, and 34 were visible minorities. Over at Environment, of the 62 people they constructively fired, 31, so a full half, were women. And of those constructively fired, 9 were visible minorities. Over at Parks Canada, of the 74 people they put on unpaid leave, almost half of those, 36, were women. And of those constructively fired, 5 were Aboriginal, 5 were people with disabilities, and 5 were visible minorities. Over at Employment and Social Development Canada, of the 299 people they put on unpaid leave, 2/3, 196 were women. And of those constructively fired, 17 were Aboriginal, 15 were people with disabilities, and 81, what a bunch of racists, were visible minorities. On page 58, the only person put on unpaid leave by the Northern Ontario Development Agency was a woman. Page 70, Health Canada put 52 people on unpaid leave over their vax status, including 31 women, so well over half. And 13 of the 52 people constructively fired were visible minorities. Page 71, over at the Public Health Agency of Canada, they put 14 people on unpaid leave, including 11 women. So that's over 75% of the people laid off at the Public Health Agency of Canada. They were women. So between the two health agencies of the federal government, 66 people between Health Canada and the Public Health Agency of Canada were constructively laid off, and 42 of them were women, 2/3. Page 72, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency put 49 people on unpaid leave, including 33 women and 9 visible minorities. Page 86, Immigration put 78 people on unpaid leave, including 47 women, 5 persons with disabilities, and 24 visible minorities. Page 107, of the 6 people put on unpaid leave by the Nuclear Safety Commission, 5 were women. They tell them they want more women in the sciences, but they keep firing them for following the science for themselves. Page 116, of the less than 5 employees put on unpaid leave by the National Film Board, less than 5 were women and less than 5 were visible minorities. So I'm not sure what that means. I think it means all of them. Page 123, Privy Council office, as in Trudeau's bureaucratic office. They refused to disclose the demographic breakdown of the 4 people they put on unpaid leave over their vaccine status from the very people obsessed with gender and diversity, yet they refused to divulge just how many diverse and gender balanced their vaccine firings are. And they even claim privacy. This is very ironic considering many people were fired because they were concerned about protecting their own medical privacy. The Liberals now claim that excuse as their own to protect themselves from having to reveal data. Page 127, let's contrast the Public Prosecution Service's response with that of the Privy Council. They confirmed that of the 5 people they put on unpaid leave, 4 were women. And they even confirmed that one of the women was a visible minority. And yet Trudeau's office is saying they can't reveal even the most basic demographic information due to privacy concerns. Page 31, of the 7 people put on unpaid leave by the Prairie Economic Development Agency, 5 were women. Page 137, the CBSA, so the Canada Border Services Agency, they put 98 people on unpaid leave, including 52 women. So again, well over half, and 12 of those were visible minorities. Page 39, Corrections Canada, 122 people were put on unpaid leave, including 63 women, again, over half, 11 Aboriginals, 14 visible minorities, and less than 10 people with disabilities. Page 141. The RCMP says they are unable to provide the information, though they say they put 69 people on unpaid leave. Page 151. Public Service and Procurement. The people responsible for procuring and acquiring all those vaccines that seem to be going to waste these days. They put 185 people on unpaid leave, including 109 women, once again, well over half. And of the people on unpaid leave, 6 were Aboriginal, 7 were people with disabilities, and 44 people were visible minorities. Page 165. Of the 55 people put on unpaid leave by Transport Canada, 22 were women, so just under half. And of those on unpaid leave, 3 were Aboriginals, 3 were people with disabilities, and 9 were visible minorities. The objectors to vaccine mandates, the resistors of federal coercion, they were so often the strong women Trudeau claims to support, and the minorities he preens about championing. His own voters. Do you think he will pay for it in the polls next time around? Let us know in the comments below. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. Rebel News is committed to fighting job-killing discriminatory vaccine mandates wherever they may be, even in the federal public service. We're doing this all through a partnership with the registered Canadian charity, the Democracy Fund, through strategic litigation. If you'd like to contribute to those efforts, please consider making a donation at fightvaccinepassports.com. And through that partnership with the Democracy Fund, all your donations there qualify for a charitable tax receipt.